So you want a grass type that's good in full sun environments? Well, we're going to cover that right here and right now. Let's get it. Selecting the right type of grass to put into your lawn is one of the most important decisions you're going to make for your property and your lawn moving forward, especially if you're a DIYer. And the reason is because once that plant is seeded, or once we plant our seed for our grass, it's there, and it's really tough to eradicate it unless we want to actually clear out the entire lawn, kill it off, and start from scratch, which is a big project. If you've done it before, you know what you're getting into. So we're going to talk about making that right decision, taking the time to plan it out, and selecting the right grass based upon what's going to work in your local environment and what fits into your lifestyle, so you're left with a result that you're happy with. This video is going to be talking about cool season grasses in full sun environments that will be pertinent to the cool season zone listed right here and parts of the transition zone should you want to choose a cool season grass type for your lawn. When placed in the right environment, cool season grass types will have two main growth surges, one in the spring and then one in the fall, coming in and out of dormancy respectively. And in the middle is that summer period, which is what we're going to be talking about today, and how to defend all those stressful environmental factors that things like hot and stressful time periods throw at this grass type in a full sun environment. When we're talking about environmental factors in the summertime and sometimes in the spring and fall, but primarily in that summertime period, we're talking about drought, wind, obviously the full sun, and obviously what comes with summer is elongated periods of heat, which make cool season grasses a little bit susceptible to what's going on, and they need to go play defense. And it's because of what happens inside of the summer period that makes certain grass types for cool season grasses perform better than others in certain environments, such as full sun. And on the contrary, if we were to go into a full shade environment, some would perform better in that environment than a full sun. So let's cover what's going to work in a full sun environment for a cool season grass. The four primary types of a cool season grass are going to be a Kentucky bluegrass, perennial ryegrass, tall fescue, and fine fescue. For a full sun environment, we're going to focus on three of those. Fine fescues can really be left out of this equation. They do okay, but it's really not meant for a full sun environment for elongated periods of time. So that leaves us with Kentucky bluegrass, perennial ryegrass, and tall fescue. Each one of these grass types has its own set of pros and cons, making a full sun environment either more sustainable or less sustainable for each grass type based upon the maintenance and input you want to put out of it to get the result that you want. The first environmental factor that we should consider specifically in the summertime is going to be a drought-like environment where we don't have a lot of natural irrigation from things like rainfall, etc., to give it the water that it actually needs. So which of these three handle the best in a drought-like condition? And the answer to this is a tall fescue by far. Of the four primary cool season grass types, tall fescue is the most drought tolerant in a full sun environment to put inside of your yard. In general, a tall fescue will need less water and less fertilizer on average than the other two grass types in a Kentucky bluegrass and a perennial ryegrass, making this a superior option and an elite quality blend to put in a full sun environment in a cool season zone. Now, that's not to say that the others don't necessarily perform well in this environment. They can, just with more maintenance put in. You're gonna need more water, you're gonna need more fertilizer for those two grass types in a Kentucky bluegrass and a perennial ryegrass. You just need to know what you're getting into for the environment in which you put it in. The next environmental factor that you should consider when selecting the right grass for your lawn is heat and elongated periods of heat during the summer months in the June, July, and August timeframes. This is going to sound a lot like what we just covered in drought-like conditions because the two kind of go hand in hand. First, I want to start with Kentucky bluegrass and perennial ryegrass being our most high maintenance options like we just discussed. You're going to need more fertilizer, more water throughout the entire year on average in comparison to a tall fescue or a turf type tall fescue that handles really well inside of these conditions, all things considered. If we look back to our cool season growth surge chart where we have two primary growth surges in the spring and the fall, a tall fescue actually is a little bit more on the contrary where it greens up a little bit later in the springtime in comparison to the two other grass types that we just covered and actually thrives in that hot, weather, making it appear overall that it looks like it's doing a little bit better in comparison to our two other grass types for this environment. The next factor to consider is the traffic that's going to be inside of your lawn. Now, it's not necessarily an environmental factor, but when paired with the environmental factors, there's going to be added stress to that lawn. And here's where I'm going to say, how much input and how much maintenance do you want to put into your lawn? Because that's going to be ultimately the answer to a lot of these questions, including this one. All three of the grass types in the tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, and perennial ryegrass handle fairly well in a high traffic environment. So if you have kids or pets or anything like that, all three will handle fairly well inside of this throughout the year. Now, when we add the environmental factors of drought, heat, and everything else, you're going to want to refer back to what preferences you have that we just talked about, high maintenance, low maintenance, and just understanding that. A low input option for high traffic is going to be a tall fescue or a turf type tall fescue, and the higher maintenance ones, similar to before, are the Kentucky bluegrass and the perennial ryegrass. So the last thing you need to consider when selecting the right grass type for your lawn is really the work that you want to put into it, like I just mentioned. Do you want a lesser input grass, low maintenance, or are you looking to put this into a passion project category like something that I would do and have a higher input grass type? It's really up to you, your location, and what's going to best suit you best and your own lifestyle. The lower maintenance grass types is by and large going to be a tall fescue, and the higher maintenance ones are going to be a Kentucky bluegrass and perennial ryegrass for a full sun, cool season, or parts of transition zone for a cool season grass type. To put things in a frame of reference, this is what I have in my backyard. It's a mix of a Kentucky bluegrass and perennial ryegrass, 75% Kentucky bluegrass, 25% perennial ryegrass. It does just fine when the maintenance is upkept and you actually keep up with the schedule. Now, that's not to say a tall fescue can't look like this or anything like that with the lesser maintenance schedule. This is just to provide an example of, hey, it can be done in a high stress environment throughout the year. You just got to keep up with it. The other maintenance factors you need to consider is how much you're actually going to be out there mowing and maintaining a height of cut. In general, a tall fescue is meant to be mowed a little bit higher, and on the contrary, our Kentucky bluegrass and perennial ryegrass have a lower height of cut maintenance requirement. Kentucky bluegrass is more of that medium, where perennial ryegrass really likes to be left at about 2 to 3 inches max. So to summarize all of this, what grass type is going to be best for you in your lawn in a sunny environment? The first thing you're going to have to measure is how much input you're going to want to put into your lawn on a daily, weekly, monthly basis throughout the lawn season. Are you low maintenance or are you high maintenance? That will in turn give you really the selections that you have to make. If you're looking for more of a low maintenance structure, you're going to be probably geared for a tall fescue or a blend of primarily tall fescues with maybe some other cultivars added into it. If you're looking for more of a high maintenance structure, a Kentucky bluegrass and a perennial ryegrass or blend of all three would suit you very well. Just know what you're getting into, maintain it, and you should be happy with the result. The last thing to consider is where you're going to source the seed that you're going to be putting into your lawn. Regardless of the grass type that you choose to put into your lawn, quality of the seed and the source matters. You get what you pay for. If you go the cheap route, you're going to be out here every single year disappointed in how your lawn looks. Go invest your money. If you're going to spend your money anywhere, it should be on elite premium seed. And to help you make your final decision on what grass is best for you, go check out my free guide. I've linked this down below, and I've also provided a whole bunch of different recommendations personally on high input, low input for every single local environment to you. All you have to decide is which input level that you would like, and you have links to actually go and source certified seed so you're left happy with the results. There are, of course, some other considerations like soil type, soil pH, and all of that, but that is left for another video. I'll always recommend everyone to go get a soil test before they start any project and follow the recommendations based upon what your soil test results deliver back to you so you can take plant genetics to its fullest potential on a project like this. As always, I'm Mope. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.